Look at the world right now. Look at the wars, the rage, the endless screaming across borders and screens. Everyone is convinced they are the hero. Everyone believes they are on the right side of history. But here is the terrifying truth they will never admit. Monsters do not destroy the world. Good people do. The moment you convince yourself that your cause is entirely righteous, you give yourself the ultimate permission to become a monster. You don't need to be evil to do unspeakable things. You just need to be absolutely certain that you are good. Let that sit with you for a second. Because if you're already uncomfortable, that discomfort has a name. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance, and the fact that it stings means the mirror is already working. You came here thinking this was about someone else, some distant group, some politician, some army across an ocean. It isn't. This is about the story you tell yourself every single morning when you wake up and decide, quietly, effortlessly, that you are one of the good ones. Now here's where it gets dark. Really dark. Carl Jung, one of the most brilliant and disturbing minds in the history of human psychology, spent his life studying what he called the shadow. Not the shadow of villains, not the shadow of Dylans, not the shadow of dictators or warlords. The shadow inside ordinary, decent, church-going, flag-waving, cause-fighting people. He said this: the most dangerous psychological moment in a human being's life is not when they embrace their darkness, it is when they completely deny it. Because what you refuse to see in yourself, you will see everywhere else, and you will destroy it there with a clean conscience and a warm heart. Think about that. What you cannot face in yourself, you will hunt down in others. This is shadow projection, and it is the invisible engine behind almost every war, every witch hunt, every genocide, every online mob, every family torn apart at a dinner table. You take the parts of yourself you cannot accept, the cruelty, the selfishness, the capacity for dishonesty, and you surgically remove them from your own identity and staple them onto an enemy. Suddenly, they are the corrupt ones. They are the liars. They are the ones capable of unspeakable things. And you are simply defending the innocent. You are simply standing up for truth. You have never been more dangerous in your life. Stop. Ask yourself something honest. When was the last time you watched something terrible unfold in the world and felt, somewhere underneath the horror, a quiet, almost pleasurable sense of confirmation? See? This is what they are. This is what I always knew. That feeling, that warm, righteous glow. That is not moral clarity, that is moral addiction. And it is feeding something in you that has nothing to do with justice. This is what psychologists call moral licensing. And it is one of the most well-documented, most consistently ignored, most catastrophically consequential phenomena in all of human behavior. Here is how it works. The moment you perform a virtuous act, donate to a cause, share a post, march in a rally, defend the vulnerable, your brain issues you a psychological credit, a token, and that token whispers to you, you have earned the right to be a little worse now. You have proven you are good. Which means the next thing you do, even if it is cruel, even if it is unjust, cannot really be that bad. Because look at your record. Look at everything you stand for. This is not a theory, this is laboratory-tested human behavior. In study after study, people who were first asked to recall a moral act were significantly more likely to lie, cheat, and express prejudice immediately afterward. Good people, decent people. People who loved their children and tipped their waitstaff and cried at funerals. The goodness didn't make them better. The goodness gave them cover. Now scale that up. Scale it to nations, to movements, to religions, to every group in human history that ever wrapped itself in a flag of righteousness before marching toward catastrophe. The inquisitors who burned people alive were not sadists enjoying cruelty. They were deeply devout men terrified of damnation, trying to save souls. The colonizers who decimated civilizations across continents genuinely believed, many of them truly, in their bones, that they were bringing light to darkness. The revolutionaries who turned their revolutions into bloodbaths were not betraying their ideals, they were protecting them, violently, absolutely, with the full, intoxicating certainty of the morally licensed. You want to know the most terrifying sentence ever constructed by the human mind? I am doing this for your own good. Not I hate you, not I want to destroy you. Those are honest. Those you can fight. No, the sentence that has caused more suffering across more centuries than almost any other is the gentle, warm, completely sincere belief that the violence, the control, the erasure is actually an act of love, of protection, of righteousness. Your morality is not a shield, it is a sword. And here is what nobody wants to hear. Here is the part that makes people close the video, close the tab, and go back to their comfortable architecture of self-congratulation. The people doing the most damage in the world right now, on every side of every conflict, in every country, across every ideology, are not doing it because they woke up and chose evil. They are doing it because they woke up and chose a story in which they are the protagonist, in which their suffering is the real suffering, in which their enemy is uniquely, cosmically deserving of what is coming to them. And that story feels like truth. It feels like sight. It feels like finally waking up. It is the deepest sleep a human being can fall into. Jung warned us. He said that it is not the criminals and the obvious monsters we should fear most. It is the decent, the righteous, the absolutely convinced. Because they sleep well. Because their violence comes with paperwork and prayers and crowds cheering in the streets. Because they have answered every moral objection before it was even raised. Because they have already decided, in the clean white light of their certainty, that what they are about to do is not cruelty, it is necessary. Think about the worst things humans have ever done to each other. They weren't done in the name of evil. They were done in the name of peace, justice, and God. So what is the answer? What do you do with this? Here is where most videos like this would offer you something comfortable, a solution, a system, a 5-step moral framework that lets you leave feeling like you've upgraded rather than unraveled. This is not that video. The answer is not to stop having values. The answer is not cynicism, not apathy, not the coward's escape of both sides. The answer is something far harder and far rarer. It is the willingness to hold your own righteousness with suspicion, to look at the moments when you feel most certain, most justified, most inflamed with the purity of your cause, and to ask, quietly, ruthlessly, what am I not seeing right now? What am I enjoying about this outrage that has nothing to do with justice? What part of my shadow am I projecting onto this enemy so I do not have to look at it in myself? That question is not weakness. That question is the only thing that separates a human being from a weapon, because a weapon does not question its purpose. A weapon does not wonder if it is being aimed wrong. A weapon simply fires in the direction it is pointed, convinced by its design that the target deserves it. Most people walking this earth right now are weapons who believe they are surgeons. The world is not being destroyed by hatred. Hatred, at least, knows what it is. The world is being consumed, slowly, systematically, with extraordinary efficiency, by love, by loyalty, by the profound, unshakable, weaponized belief that some people matter more than others, that some causes are so righteous that the rules of common humanity no longer apply, that the violence is a regrettable but necessary price paid by other people so that the right people can live in the world they deserve. You have felt this in an argument, in a comment section, in the quiet privacy of your own skull during a news cycle that confirmed everything you already believed. You felt the warmth, the permission, the moral intoxication of being, finally, completely, undeniably right. That warmth is not righteousness. That warmth is the flame. And the only question left is, what are you about to burn?